television ratings, higher attendance figures. Ladies and gentlemen, that doesn't come courtesy of a league. It comes courtesy of the players that play in the league. And in her case, she was the most popular, which means she could have helped your bottom line, which means you should have seen that from day one and maximized it. But you didn't do it.
Stephen A. Smith didn't hold back in his latest criticism of the WNBA, taking aim at both the players and the league's commissioner, Cathy Engelbert. His comments were sharp and direct, reflecting the frustration shared by many fans and analysts. This time, it wasn't just about a bad decision. It was a reminder that Caitlin Clark, one of the league's brightest stars, was being overlooked.
You were a bit hesitant and reluctant and resistant to it. So much so you didn't push for her to be on Team USA. So much so you had people like Cheryl Swoops who didn't even want to mention her name.
Imagine a league where its most exciting, game-changing player seems to be held back by the very organization she's trying to help grow. Caitlin Clark's historic debut season brought in record crowds and boosted viewership, reigniting fan interest. But instead of building on that momentum, the WNBA's response has been underwhelming. Fans are left wondering, can the league reach its full potential, or will it keep missing the mark? This is just the tip of the iceberg. As we dig deeper, we'll uncover the issues that are holding the league back. And Stephen A. Smith is not holding back. He's making it clear what's at stake if the WNBA doesn't make some changes. Before we dive in, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Ready? Let's get started.
And everybody talking about other WNBA players not being appreciated. Nobody insulted them. Nobody dismissed their contribution. We were simply saying, despite the contributions for years and years and years, a lot of people didn't care. Fair or not, until Caitlin Clark came along.
When Stephen A. Smith speaks out, you know it's going to hit hard, and this time it definitely did. His target was the WNBA, specifically its veteran players and the leadership under Commissioner Cathy Engelbert. Smith launched a sharp critique, accusing the league of missing an obvious opportunity with Caitlin Clark, a player who had wowed fans with record-breaking performances. His comments struck at a deeper issue, one that many had quietly noticed but never fully addressed: the disconnect between the incredible talent on the court and the decisions being made off it. Smith's frustration wasn't just about a single moment. It was about a troubling pattern. How could the WNBA let its biggest star go unnoticed?
But if you went the opposite direction, it could have helped that much and facilitated you being in an even stronger position to get yours. But you didn't do it. You didn't do it. Wow.
A recent example of the WNBA missing the mark came during Assist Week, when the league completely botched Caitlin Clark's record-breaking assist total. Clark set a historic record, but somehow the league overlooked the exact number she achieved. It got so bad that the tweet they posted about it was fact-checked and eventually had to be corrected. How does a league let such a simple but important detail slip through the cracks?
WNBA put out a post that inaccurately titled or totaled, Clark's assists on the season. They got a community note, and then the post was eventually deleted because they wrote 321 instead of 337, which is what Clark had.
It wasn't just Stephen A. Smith's fiery delivery that hit home. It was the truth behind his words. His comments resonated with what many fans and players had felt but hadn't always voiced. This wasn't just about getting Caitlin Clark the recognition she deserved. It was about respect, investment, and the WNBA's ability to grow. Smith made it clear, if the league couldn't fully support a star like Clark, what chance did other emerging players have? This wasn't just a marketing mistake. It pointed to bigger problems within the league. The WNBA, like the NBA, seemed hesitant to embrace bold moves and fully highlight star power, reflecting an organizational culture that wasn't keeping up with the demands of modern sports. Clark's influence was undeniable. Her games weren't just games. They were events, bringing in new fans and reigniting interest among longtime supporters. Yet, the league's leadership appeared unsure of how to capitalize on this momentum.
They decided that they were going to let her know she was Rookie of the Year with a phone call in Connecticut during a practice before a playoff game. You can't make this up.
Stephen A. Smith's critique went far beyond just one player. He pointed out how the WNBA's mismanagement could seriously hurt the league's growth at a crucial moment. Fans were demanding transparency, stronger promotion of their favorite stars, and a clear commitment from the league to grow the sport. Without these things, even the most promising seasons could fade into the background. The issue wasn't just about boosting viewership. It was about earning trust and showing a clear vision for the future in a sports world where momentum is everything. Smith's call for change wasn't just a suggestion, it was a wake-up call. The WNBA was at a crossroads, with Caitlin Clark representing what the league could achieve. But the question remained, would this critique spark real change, or would it be another opportunity lost? Would the league's leadership change its approach, or would they need to be changed? If you're enjoying the video so far, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. We really appreciate you taking the time to watch. Now, let's dive back in.
It elevated television ratings, it elevated attendance, and it damn sure elevated franchise value. But now, something that y'all resisted talking about, opining about, acknowledging.
When Commissioner Cathy Engelbert appeared on national TV, many hoped for a strong endorsement of Caitlin Clark and a clear vision for the WNBA's future. What they got, however, were statements that left fans, players, and analysts scratching their heads. Her comments on * 60 Minutes * and CNN's * Power Lunch * didn't inspire confidence. Instead, they highlighted a troubling disconnect in leadership. When asked about Caitlin Clark's incredible season on * 60 Minutes *, Engelbert's response was telling. She downplayed Clark's achievements, stating, "No lead is ever about one player," shifting the focus away from Clark's record-breaking season.
Then are you willing to admit how stupid it was for y'all not to go all in speaking your piece to elevate Caitlin Clark? So therefore even more attention could have come and y'all could have reaped the benefits? Now you're gonna do it anyway, and I get that, but you see my point?
While Engelbert's comment may have been meant to emphasize the importance of team play, it ended up minimizing the significant impact Caitlin Clark had on the league. Clark wasn't just a player, she was a force that brought new fans, boosted viewership, and reignited excitement for the WNBA. Fans quickly took to social media to express their frustration, feeling that Engelbert missed a key opportunity to celebrate the star who had injected so much life into the league. Things got even more confusing during her appearance on * Power Lunch * when the topic of rivalries came up. Instead of discussing the potential for building exciting matchups, Engelbert shifted the focus to marketing and viewership numbers, which only left fans wondering if she truly understood what makes the league special.
I noticed when you're asking about Caitlin a lot, you bring up other rookies as well.
No league's ever about one player. That player could get hurt or whatever. So I think it's just to give recognition that in sports, people watch for compelling content and rivalries. And you can't do that alone as one person.
By focusing on rivalries and marketing, Engelbert overlooked a crucial issue: player safety and fair treatment. Her emphasis on boosting viewership instead of addressing these pressing concerns left both players and fans questioning her priorities. This wasn't just a PR misstep. It exposed a clear gap between the league's leadership and its players' real needs. While the commissioner talked about rivalries to boost ratings, players like Caitlin Clark were dealing with inconsistent officiating and physical challenges that could affect their careers. The league's reluctance to tackle these safety issues raised serious concerns about its commitment to player well-being. Fans want excitement, yes, but they also demand fairness and integrity. These are the foundations of any sports league that hopes to earn respect and trust.
White, one black. And so we have that moment with these two. But the one thing I know about sports, you need rivalry. That's what makes people watch. They want to watch games of consequence between rivals. They don't want everybody being nice to one another.
Under Cathy Engelbert's leadership, the WNBA finds itself at a crucial crossroads. Players are calling for change, fans are demanding more, and analysts are closely watching the league's next moves. The current path risks not only losing the momentum created by stars like Caitlin Clark, but also damaging the league's long-term credibility. The big question now is whether Engelbert can shift her focus from marketing sound bites to taking meaningful action. These leadership missteps aren't isolated. They fit into a broader pattern of missed opportunities that raise doubts about the WNBA's direction. While Engelbert has helped raise the league's visibility, these moments highlight a leadership style that, for many, doesn't go far enough to foster the league's growth. Beyond the public statements and policy decisions, there are deeper issues at play, problems that affect every game, every player, and the overall fan experience. One of the most pressing issues is inconsistent officiating, which, along with concerns over player safety, impacts the quality of play. Players and fans alike had expressed frustration with how officiating can swing wildly from one game to the next, sometimes overly strict, sometimes confusingly lenient. This inconsistency not only disrupts the flow of the game, but can also create safety risks. Players who can't predict how the game will be called are more vulnerable to injury, adding to the already demanding physical toll of the sport. To illustrate the problem, take a look at this footage comparing one of the fouls called on Caitlin Clark and how the referees handled it versus how similar situations are treated in the NBA. The differences are striking and highlight the broader challenges that WNBA faces when it comes to ensuring fair and consistent gameplay.
It's a balance, but certainly from a marketing dollars, but corporate partners are stepping up to endorse these players much more so than they were 5 years.
The WNBA's issues go beyond what's happening on the court. As players like Caitlin Clark push the limits of athleticism with sharp cuts and fast-paced drives, the risks increase. But instead of focusing on these challenges, the league often leans into marketing-friendly narratives like rivalries, ignoring more pressing concerns. This approach makes it feel like the WNBA cares more about appearances and addressing the real issues at hand. Player safety is a big part of that. Clark's historic season, which featured more fast-paced and daring plays than most, highlighted how serious the problem is. She ended up with a disproportionate number of flagrant fouls, something that raised alarms among analysts. The WNBA's failure to implement stricter safety measures and enforce consistent officiating doesn't just put Clark at risk. It puts every player in jeopardy. By not addressing these issues, the league risks the safety of its athletes and the long-term credibility of the sport itself.
I said Caitlin Clark, rising tide lifts all boats. As much as her presence was maximized by the WNBA, you players could have done more to assist.
These issues aren't just affecting the players. They're resonating with loyal fans who want to see a fair, well-run competition. Fans aren't asking for special treatment. They simply want consistent and fair officiating so they can focus on the game itself, not the drama off the court. The gap between fan expectations and their actual experience grows wider when calls are inconsistent and safety concerns are ignored. Take, for example, the technical foul called on Caitlin Clark for hitting the ring post during the game. Fans were frustrated, not just because of the call, but because it seemed to highlight the league's inconsistent approach to officiating. It's moments like this that make it harder for fans to stay focused on the game, and instead, they're left questioning the fairness of the competition.